Hey guys, welcome to Homework Help. This is areas, the topic areas, week 3. On page 21, we're doing set 5b, find the area of the shaded region. Okay, this is really simple. Find the area of the outside minus the area of the inside. That's it, that's all you gotta do. So, outside is 8 times 10, 80. The inside area is 5 times 8, which is 40. Take away, you get the answer is 40 feet squared. Done. Do the same thing, except this time it's a triangle. How do you find the area of a triangle? You do the width times the length, and then you divide it by 2. Okay, I'm not going to do this one. Question 2. Solve the following. Given the perimeter of a square is 36, find the area. So here's a square. This is the perimeter. The perimeter of a square is 36, so that means we do 36 divided by 4, and that gives us 9. So that tells us that the side length is 9. Perimeter just means all the outside added together. 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 is 36. So therefore each side must be 9. Okay. Find the area. Area is 9 times 9, and get the answer is 81 centimeters squared. Done. The perimeter of a rectangle is 24. The length is 8. Find the area. Okay, so just gonna rub this out. There we are. Alright, now we have a rectangle, and it says the rectangle, the perimeter of the rectangle is 24, so we have a perimeter of 24. The length is 8, so this is 8. So how do we find the area? Well, to find the area you must have the width as well. Okay, so we know the perimeter is 24, so how do we do it? So what we're going to do is I'll show you the quick way. So imagine that I take this rectangle and I cut it in half like this. Okay, and all of the length on this side, so this length, this width plus this length is exactly the same as this width plus this length plus this width. Okay, so that means that this side, actually, I'll do it again. Hold on, I'll cut it this way. It means that the 8 plus this width, let's call it W. Okay, 8 plus the width, it's only half of the perimeter, 24. Okay, the perimeter is 24. Half of the perimeter must be 12. Okay, so because we've only have half of the perimeter here, so this side is the one half, this side is the other half. Okay, so I just cut it the perimeter in half, and I say, okay, well, 8 plus what gives me 12? This must be 4, and that's 4. So we have 4, 8, and 4. There you go. Now we can find the area. To find the area, we do the length times the width, which is 8 times 4, that's 32. So area is 8 times 4, which is 32 centimeters squared. The area of a square, if the area of a square is 121, find the perimeter. So they give you the area of the square. Okay, it's 121 centimeters. Now to find the area of the square, we must multiply the side. We don't know how long the side is. So to find the area of square, we just do side times side, and that gives us 121. So to find the length of each side, these are both say the same numbers because it's a square. We just do the square root of 121, which gives us 11, because 11 times 11 will give you 121. So that means that each side length here must be 11. That's 11. Let's just rub this part out. And that's 11, that's 11, that's 11. And it says find the perimeter of the square. Well, that's easy. That's just 4 times 11. 4 lots of 11. Perimeter just means you're adding all the length of the square up. That's 11 plus 11 plus 11 plus 11. And that's just 4 times 11, which is 44 centimeters. Question 3. A cattle farmer owns 530, so imagine you have a piece of land and there's 530 hectares. And he purchased another 5 He purchased another piece of land that's 5.2 kilometers squared of land adjacent to the farm. Adjacent just means next to, so you can see in the diagram it's next to. Okay. Now, how many hectares of land does he own? So they wanted you to find the total number of hectares of land. Well, this is already in hectares, so let's just leave it at 530. Now this one can be converted to hectares. We know that 1 kilometer squared, by the way, this is squared, is equal to 100 hectares. So 5.2 kilometers squared must equal to go from kilometer squared to hectare, we times it by 100. So I'm going to times this by 100, and I'm going to get 520. So this is 520 hectares. So together, how much hectares does he have? Add them up and get the answer. Next question. A stained glass window measures 180 by 350 is to be fitted into the wall as a building. I think it's been of a building. This should be of a building. Find the area of the window in meters squared. Okay. Find the area of the window. So the window, here's the window. The window is 180 centimeters by 350 centimeters. To find the area, we just multiply them. Just multiply it. So 180. Actually, they want it in meters squared. So change it into meters first. I'm going to put the meters in blue. This is the same as 1.8 meters. And this is the same as 3.5 meters. Okay. So to find the area, we just do 1.8 times 3.5. Alright, 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28. Magical 0, and this is 35. And now we add them up. 0, 8 plus 5 is 13. And this will be 6. So the area is 6.3 meter squared. How do I know where the decimal place is when you multiply this? Well, think about it. This is roughly how much? Roughly about 3, 4, maybe 3, 4. Okay, so it could be 4. And this is roughly 2, isn't it? So it's basically 2 times 4. So we can estimate this. 2 times 4 is 8. So our answer must be close to an 8. So if I put a decimal place here, it is 63. That's way off. Okay. If I put the decimal here, it'll be 6.3, which is closer to 8. Therefore, the answer should be 6.3. You can think of it that way too. There's other ways to do it, but this is one of the ways. So 6.3 meters squared is the answer. Now, next one says, if stained glass costs $250 per meter, and labor costs is, I think it means meters per meter squared. It should say that. Okay. And labor cost is $125. Find the total cost of fitting the stained glass. So 1 meter square is going to cost you $250. We have 6.3 meters squared. An area of 6.3. So how much is it going to cost? So just multiply it. To go from 1 meter to 6.3, we multiply by 6.3. So we multiply this one also by 6.3. We want to see how much it's going to cost. Okay, so 6.3 times 250. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'll do the second way to multiply decimals now. I'll show you the second way. Move decimal place to the right once. We want to make it into whole numbers. So I moved the decimal place to the right one time. So now I have 250 times 63. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then we put a magical 0. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Add them up. 0, 5, 7, 0.51. Now because we moved decimal place to the right once, we have to move it back one time as well. So decimal place is right here, so it's going to be in here. Alright, so the answer is going to equal to 1575. That's 1575. And okay, so the cost for the materials is going to be this much. Now you have to also add the labor cost of $125. That's the work being done to put all of the glass in, or something like that. So you have to take 1575. You're going to add the labor costs, which is 125, and this will be 0. This will be 0. This will be 7. This will be 1. That means it's going to cost you altogether $1,700, and that's done. Okay, next question. Convert the following. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the unit conversion. So 1 hectare, you want to turn to meter square. Okay, that's equal to 10,000 meters square. So to go from hectare to meter square, we just times it by 10,000. That's how I get a 1 to turn into 10,000, right? Just times it by 10,000. Whoops. Alright, so now if you have 2 hectares, that's 20,000, isn't it? Meter square. Alright, next one. 800 millimeters, so 1 centimeter square is equal to 100 millimeter square. Now to go from millimeter to centimeters, we just divide it by 100. So divide this by 100, you get 8 centimeter squared. What else? The next one is 12.83 meter square. We want to turn to centimeter squared. Okay. So we know that 1 meter squared is equal to 10,000 centimeters squared. Let me just double check that. It's 100. Yeah, that's right. So now if you want to go from meter squared, from meter squared to centimeter squared, we're going from 1 to 10,000, so that means we multiply by 10,000. So to go from this to this, we must multiply by 10,000. So 12.83. Since when we multiply by 10,000, we're going to move decimal place to the right 4 times. So let's just put in a couple zeros. Okay. So now decimal place is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. So the decimal place is going to end up here. So now the answer to this would be 128,300, and you're done. So it's 128,300 centimeters square. All right, next one. One kilometer square is equal to 1 million meter square. Now to go from, we're going from meters to kilometers, right? So going from meters to kilometers, so that means we have to divide it by 1,000,000. Alright, so you have 312,000 meters. Now decimal place is right here. When you divide this by 1,000,000, decimal place is going to jump back because we're dividing. It's going to jump back to the left by how many times? 1,000,000 has 6 zeros, so we jump back 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So decimal place will be right here, which means there's a 0 in front. So the answer is 0.312. You don't have to put the other zeros in there. You don't have to. It's not necessary. Alright. Now the next one says 0.5 hectare squared to meter squared. So remember that 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 meters square. And so to go from hectare to meter square, we times it by 10,000. Alright, that's what we're doing. We're going from hectare to meter squared. So let's multiply this by 10,000. 0.035. Let's put in a couple zeros since we're going to move decimal place to the right by multiplying. 10,000 has 4 zeros, so we make 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be right there, so the answer is going to be 350 hectares. Alright, last one. 38 centimeters squared to hectares. Oof. Okay. Now we know that 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 meters squared. And we know that 1 meter squared is equal to how many centimeters? Let me see. I think it was 10,000 as well. Centimeters squared. Alright. Let me just double check that. So 1 hectare. Yep, that's correct. Okay, that's correct. So now, so that means that 1 meter squared is 10,000. You got 10,000 meters squared, so you multiply. You're gonna get 1 with how many zeros? 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This will be centimeters squared. Okay, so this is a very big conversion. If you want to go from centimeter squared back to hectares, you have to divide it by 1 with 8 zeros. That's a big number. Right. So we got 38. Let's just write 38 here. Now decimal place is right here. Decimal place is always after the last digit. Now since we're dividing, we're going to move decimal place back to the left. So let's just put in a lot of zeros to the left to see where our decimal is going to land. Okay. Now we're jumping back how many? 8 spaces because we've got 8 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So decimal place is going to be there. That means we don't care about all the other zeros there. Only up to there. That's good enough. Alright, so let's rub this out. And now we can say this is going to be 0. Oh, put this in red. 0 point, how many zeros we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops. And then you got 38. And there's your answer in hectares. Okay, so that's done. Hope that helps.